It may be a little cliched, but for me, New Year's has always been that time of taking stock of the previous year and planning for all the projects and gigs to come. And whether you have a specific New Year's ritual or not, just the mere thought of how we're going to overcome our fears, break through our plateaus, and really become the kind of artist we want to be is one of the most intimidating and overwhelming aspects of being an artist, full stop. And I just rediscovered this video that I actually made for the Improviser's Guide to the Cello Academy show a couple of years ago. It's got some really helpful and practical tools that a lot of you guys at the time told me you found really helpful. And honestly, there are a lot of basic truths in there that I wish I would have done a better job with this past year. And I hope you guys find it useful as well. So without further ado, hey everybody, IGC Academy, Jacob back here with you for a special New Year's Day edition here from sunny Los Angeles. And today I'd like to focus on a little trick for your New Year's resolutions. You know, like most of you guys probably, I've always been obsessed with New Year's resolutions, and it's because I try to keep a lot of plates spinning at the same time, whether it's the Academy or the pickup test, my trio, or my recording and teaching career. I've always been really interested in how I can kind of get the most out of my time. And going back over the years, I tend to look at the past couple of years worth of New Year's resolutions, and I've always tried to analyze which resolutions got done and which things didn't get done and try to figure out why that was. So while I imagine a lot of you guys are in this process, I thought I would share a little trick or way of thinking about these resolutions that has made the biggest difference for me. And the idea that I'd like for you to consider is this year, I would like you to think really small when you're making your resolutions. The idea is that most of the resolutions that I've noticed that fail are those big, overarching, philosophical ideas. You know, the really nebulous ones that everybody puts on their resolutions, like, I want to take better care of myself, or I'd like to practice more this year, or I'd like to lose weight. Now, while all of those are really well-meaning, we tend to not really look at all of the factors that allow those to happen. You see, during our daily lives, we're not really thinking about big overarching things, right? We're kind of living moment to moment to moment to moment, and we're dodging enemy fire and putting out our own fires, right? And so most of us, especially if you're really busy and keeping those plates spinning, you kind of live in a state of anxiety, right? So you want to be able to take those big ideas, which are important. I'm not saying you should be any less ambitious this year, but what I am saying is that you should take those big ideas and whittle them down into 2-minute action items that you can either do once or daily, right? And obviously a 2-minute item is something that is very achievable no matter how busy your schedule, and most importantly, really unintimidating, right? It's the type of thing that can give you kind of momentum through your day and won't psych you out as far as just doing it. So I'd like to give you an example from my own life, and in doing so, I'm going to try to give you 2 simple principles. You can think of them as thought tools that you can use to whittle away your own big ideas and hopefully turn them into something that you'll actually be able to act on this year. So let's take one that has been on everyone's list before. Let's take getting in shape, right? This has been on my list and was on my list this year, and what I did is I said, okay, I want to lose 5% body fat, and I want to do this and that. And what I came up with is get a Costco card. That's right. The simple 2-minute action of going online and purchasing a Costco card allowed me to achieve my fitness goals this year. Okay, now the important thing obviously is how I got from A to B, right? That might seem like sort of a big leap for some of you guys. So I got there by applying 2 very simple principles. The first one is the 80-20 principle. Now, for those of you guys that don't know what that is, you can look it up online. There are probably better explanations than I can give you, but the simple Reader's Digest version is that 20% of the things you do yield 80% of the results. So the trick in life, whenever you're planning anything from resolutions to your daily routine, is to try to find the biggest force multiplier, right? The biggest thing that's going to get you to where you want to go with the least amount of effort and investment. So in my case, I thought, okay, yes, I could schedule, 5 hours of workouts every day, and I could, go do all of these crazy things. But upon really researching it, I realized that 80% of what needed to change was my diet, right? And how could I change my diet the most? Well, obviously, eating out is one of the simplest things that we do that's the most unhealthy, right? Because when you eat out, they put all kinds of junk in the food to make it taste good, right? So most sources I read said that if you just make your own food at home or you eat at home more often, that's one of the easiest ways to keep yourself healthier and happier. So I thought, well, how can I not eat out as much? And this brings me to the second principle I want to share with you guys, which is the idea of convenience or banking on your own laziness. Now, all of you guys know that if you want to practice more, one of the easiest ways to do it that I always advise my students, and I'm sure you guys do the same, is just leave your instrument out, right? Leaving your instrument out means that you don't have to think about getting it out of the case and putting rosin on. If you just have a few minutes to practice, that can be the difference between picking up the thing or just making an excuse to yourself and going and having a cappuccino before you're out the door. And in this case, I thought, well, having more food in the house simply means, well, what if I bought in bulk? That would kind of force me to have more in the house. And so that led to buying the Costco card, because once you put the money down, right? Once you put down that non-refundable deposit, once you put down, you can bank on your own laziness, your own sense of convenience to say, okay, well, I've already done it. It's done. I'm just going to do that, right? And sure enough, I went to Costco. More consistently, I bought food in bulk. I ate out less this year, and I lost 5% body fat, which is pretty good. Well, I hope those ideas, those principles, 80-20, and the idea of banking on your own laziness or going for convenience first, will help you in turning those big goals into simple 2-minute goals. Remember, we tend to vastly overestimate what we can do in a day, but vastly underestimate what we can do over the course of a month or 6 months or a year. I also want to say that 2015 was absolutely the greatest year of my life, whether it was getting the improviser's guide or the pickup test off the ground, releasing the JS3 album and all the great things that have come from that. And I couldn't have done any of it, really any of it, without all of your support. So in whatever way we hung out this year, whether it was just online or at a show, I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. It's meant everything to me. Thanks again for 2015, and I can't wait to see you in 2016. See you next time.